Hey YouTube, Brian LCS, thanks for stopping by the channel and this video, The Amazing Spider-Man number 13 review. And we're going to jump right in. There's going to be some spoilers, so if you don't want to get spoiled, look away. So, Zeb Wells, writer, John Romita Jr., art, has been the team since this series started. And we open up with Norman screaming for his nurse. And we know that from last issue that he was watching, he has a camera on the Spidey suit. And so he's seeing what's happening, and he, screams for the nurse to go call the police and send him to a specific address where, the battle's taking place. And then we cut to the actual battle. And, Spider-Man's kind of getting a little 1-2 here by both of the goblins. And then, the battle continues. And we see, Spider-Man's trying to leverage, his glider to help him, take on these two hobgoblins. But he's taking a beating. And so, we cut back to Norman, and the nurse says, look, the police are on their way. And then we see, he's saying, Norman's thinking about, well, maybe he could help him. And we see his suit that he's been working on, and we've seen a little bit, here and there about the suit. So, so Spider-Man's kind of talking to himself and saying, look, I got to use my glider and my web to my advantage to kind of take the, the offensive back and take it to the two hobgoblins. And so he uses his web and his glider to kind of slingshot into them, and he kind of starts getting, the advantage. But then he's, taken back again. He's getting, pummeled again. And his glider, which he calls the bug, actually gets destroyed in, trying to save him. And so now we see Spider-Man falling, and he takes a pretty good hit on a rooftop. And again, he is getting his butt kicked. And the Kingsley Goblin has some type of, almost looks like a shock type in his gloves. So he's shocking him there. And then Kingsley tells, to Ned, let's finish this. Why don't we use our glider? And basically looks like they're going to, crush or stab Spider-Man with the glider. And then, boom, we get the big splash page here. And in comes the suit that we've seen Norman working on. And takes out the goblins before they can inflict any more damage to Spider-Man, Peter Parker. And, Peter kind of calls out Norman, like, is that Norman in the goblin suit, or a new goblin suit? And so we see, Norman coming in and really kind of now getting, taking the goblins by surprise and getting, kind of the best of them. And then we see, one of their gliders is taken out. And now Kingsley basically says, all right, Ned, I'm going to get rid of you here. And he tosses him off the glider, and he's falling, out of the sky to the ground. And we see, Peter's able to save him with a little webbing. And then we see, now Spider-Man is back up on his feet. But now Kingsley's after him again, and in walks Norman, who is there to kind of save the day in his new suit. So they both now have, both Kingsley and Ned Leeds Hobgoblin, out of commission. And so now, obviously police show up, and Norman has his group of folks there, his lawyers, and he's kind of getting out of the trouble. And, we see his staff there as well in their own little van. And he mentions he really appreciates that they dropped off his laptop, that he was able to see, what was going on, and able to save Spider-Man. And his assistant basically says, we didn't drop that off. I told everybody to leave you alone so you could get your rest. So we have this a little bit of a cliffhanger there. We don't know what occurred, who dropped off the computer, if it wasn't his, assistant or his staff. And now we see Betty Brant now. Peter shows up, kind of giving her the update about Ned. And, she is upset, but, Peter reassures her that, they'll find the mind control device, in his apartment, and that, Norman will provide a lawyer for him, and that basically all, charges will get, dropped, or he'll be cleared. And then Betty, lets him know at the end here, the end of their conversation, that the device was never found, that it wasn't found at Ned's office. And then we cut to an unknown location, and we see Kingsley now with the device, the mind control device. His men had retrieved it so that they could kind of hide this evidence. But then we see Kingsley getting into the device, the mind control device. We see an arm there working the controls. And lo and behold, we have the Queen Goblin. She has returned. So we had the old switcheroo here. It seems like she was controlling both Ned and Kingsley for some type of plan. And she is on the hunt after Norman Osborn, and her closing remark is here, his sins have come back to haunt him. And so that's where we leave it. We are now, kind of wrapped up the Goblin story. We've been introduced to the Golden Goblin, Norman Osborn, which we assume, is a good goblin, a goblin that we haven't seen before, a good goblin. But overall, a pretty solid issue. We haven't seen the Queen Goblin since issue 88, 89 of the last series. And so getting her back reintroduced is a good thing, because we kind of think that she's going to be the new big baddie, potentially a new big baddie or female goblin. So and then we've yet to see the whereabouts of Ben Reilly from the last series, as he got turned. His memories were lost and turned into Chasm. So we'll see what happens, where this story is going to go. But overall, I thought this was a solid issue. My 5 webhead rating, I'll go with a solid 3. It was, a good story, some good action. One thing I want to comment, I've been and now this is a variant cover, so this is not John Romita Jr., but I've been pretty critical of Romita Jr.'s Spider-Man artwork. And the best thing I can say, it's very inconsistent for me. I think he has trouble, for me personally, with drawing some faces. They kind of look blocky or squarish to me. They kind of all look very similar. But then when he's drawing Spider-Man, if you look at some of these action sequences here, I mean, the Spider-Man work is, I thought in this issue was really good. So, yeah, for me, there's times when I look at his art and I'm like, wow, that I don't really like that. But then there's other times that I look at it and I really enjoy it. So I just wanted to kind of call that out, because I know I've been a little bit critical of John Romita Jr.'s Spider-Man work, but sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. But that's it. So let me know what you think. If you're reading the Spider-Man series, what did you think of this issue? What did you think of, the Goblins and Queen Goblin coming back, and now the Golden? We've got 4 Goblins in this. The Golden Goblin, we've got Queen Goblin, Hobgoblin 1, and Hobgoblin 2. So lots of goblins. And it's Halloween's past. But let me know what you think down in the comments. Hope you enjoyed the review. And we will see you next issue 14. And be on the lookout for my Spider-Man #2 review coming soon. Thanks, guys. Thanks for watching.